in my book.
They're afraid of charter schools. You can't have your choice to send them somewhere else. The college thing, though, if you have free college, one of the biggest problems with that is that you have no skin in the game. And when you have no skin in the game, a lot of people who would otherwise maybe not go to college, it's like, well, all my friends are going to college. I guess I'll go there, too. And there's lots of parties and fun, and you can do all kinds of things. I mean, I went to college, and I can tell you my freshman year, I was not the greatest student either. I was, indulging in all kinds of the other stuff people do. And I was paying my own way. If I had the check paid for by somebody else, it'd be even easier to say, oh, heck, where's the next party? I'm a firm believer that if you have skin in the game, you always are going to have your maximum effort applied. I mean, does not work.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Dave. We appreciate it. Did you have something you want to get in?
I was just going to say, I was a valedictorian, so I looked it up recently, and most valedictorians don't do any better than the average high school student.
Oh, snap.
That's really an interesting stat.
Zing!
Such as me.
Here on Free Talk Live. 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live is on the way.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Breaking weather news. Belize is sunny and around 82 degrees every day this week.
What's the forecast for your life? If current politics and economic prospects are cramping your freedom, escape to the tropics. ECI Development has affordable second homes for you to own or rent in Belize and other tropical countries. Places with stable governments and growing economies. Secure your freedom now. To find out more, send an email to ftl@ecidevelopment.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven unproven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Do you appreciate what we do? Help us advertise, market, and promote for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks for tuning into the show. It is Free Talk Live. What is Free Talk Live? Well, we're a live call-in radio talk program where you can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. The telephone number is 603-283-6160. Again, 603-283-6160. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
It's Bonnie.
And Chris.
And I wanted to tell you about ForkFest 2021, where you can join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, but ForkFest is decentralized, which means that there's no ticket cost and no one is in charge. All you have to do is reserve your camping site, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. I can't think of a better place to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists. You can find out more at the unofficial website, forkfest.party, where you can connect with other attendees. You can find the unofficial Telegram chat, and also there's an unofficial forum. Again, links to those can all be found at forkfest.party. We hope to see you there. Come party with us. It'll be a good time.
You better act fast, though, because their space is running out.
Yeah, the week before, which is the Porcupine Freedom Festival, is sold out. And so folks are going, oh, well, I guess we'll have to go to ForkFest then. And that's pretty great for ForkFest. But indeed, do act now.
The week after, so during ForkFest, they were running out of space even then when I called, and that was weeks ago now. So you might be out of time. If you're not, you better call now, because if you don't, you might not get a spot.
Agreed. Let's go to the phones. We've got Jill calling. Jill, are you in Virginia or West Virginia? Virginia. Okay, Jill's calling for Virginia. And
yes.
What's on your mind tonight? You're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, this notion that they want to expand college education and make it free for everybody, and even rent children from their homes and stick them into school younger and younger. I think this is wrong. The whole thing's wrong. In the first place, I believe the proper function of government, since government necessarily involves force, the proper function of government is only to protect man, includes woman and child, of course, against force. Fraud and violence are forms of force. To protect the person against force and to punish same. And that's all. And since education is not part of this, it's not a police function, it shouldn't be part of government, and except maybe for some technical training in the military and maybe some police academies. Otherwise, government shouldn't be involved in it. It should not be government financed or government operated. That's one thing.
Why do we need a public military? Why can't we just privatize it?
Because that you need to have it under some rules and You need to have it under some kind of rule and system so it can be controlled better.
Doesn't that already exist? Isn't there rules of engagement?
I would have to say that she might be right if we had to take the United States as one giant country. It's just too big to be a country. There's too many different cultures going on within it. If we had just states like, everywhere else in the world pretty much, then we could protect our own states with just privatized militaries, I think.
And do you really have an interest?
I don't want privatized military.
Would you even have an interest in, protecting yourself against mass, or Vermont? I mean, what are they going to do? Or Maine? I mean, do we really have anything to worry about them attacking?
Some states might decide to have less money going into their private militaries.
Hang on, because Jill said something important. She said, I don't want a privatized military. Jill, can you tell us what the differences would be between a privatized military and the military we have now?
That is answerable to the citizens according to the Constitution, according to law.
So to a community then, right? A community of people?
Under some decent control. You don't want it getting out of control and having a police state.
Oh, it's out of control.
We already have a police state. We already have an out-of-control military. I don't see how it could get any worse.
The spending through the Pentagon is way worse than even just what they're doing with the colleges.
So, Jill, from my perspective, what I foresee is a community that comes together and says, hey, we need to subscribe to some sort of a service to provide defense. And so you go and you find
police force,
So you go, hang on. You go and you find somebody who's providing defense services and you sign a contract with them as a community, as a group of people. Now, because you signed a contract with them, they are now beholden to fulfill the obligations of the contract. And if they don't, why, you can just fire that particular group of people and go find a new group of people who will perform the actions in your contract.
So,
as opposed to what we have now, where when government does a poor job, your only choice is to vote. That's it. That's all you can do. You can't fire the entity that is screwing up. You can't even hold them accountable. You can't even get the government to give you the equivalent of an elementary report card about what they're doing. I don't see how the military that we have now would be any better than privatized military.
Good grief. Oh, you can have them. You can have laws about what the military can and cannot do. We already have a few of those. We have a Constitution and so forth.
And women still go missing in the military all the time because they've been raped by their commanders and have to hide it.
Yeah, it's mostly about, I think it's a lot of it's about efficiencies, and then of course not wasting money like on a service that you can't use or you don't use or are doing things that are not in your interest, right? So I can't choose to opt out of the war in Afghanistan or paying for that war, right? But if it was privately funded, I could opt out of paying for that war, right?
What I think about taxation is this.
It's that
to provide for protection against crime, there would be something like the present sales tax, except it would be voluntary. If a store, for instance, was open for a certain number of days, whatever it was in that locality, then the official could come in and say, well, this store, are you the owner of this store? Yes. Well, this store has been open for 60 days. Now, I notice you haven't signed up to pay your law enforcement fee. Do you want to pay it by the week, by the month, quarterly?
How is this not extortion?
I'm not paying for any law enforcement fee. All right, suit yourself. But if somebody comes into this store and holds you up, don't call 911.
But they don't say, okay, suit yourself. They say you're going to jail for not paying.
This place will be on the list of places that have refused to pay. So you... I'll protect myself. Good luck with that. Suppose 3 or 4 of them come in here. I notice you got a couple of kids in here. These your children, yeah. Well, don't you think it would be better for you to pay your law enforcement fee? And then
so Jill, let me ask you a question.
Would say this place is protected.
What if a swindler did exactly what you're describing?
Hey, Jill, we got to stop you. Let us ask you a couple of questions here. what you're describing sounds exactly like every mafia film I've ever seen, where the mafia folks go around and they go, "Hey, we gotta get your protection fee," and they go, "Well, I don't want to pay your protection fee. I can protect myself just fine." And they go, "Oh, well, that's okay because I guess you're on your own if somebody comes around." And then they come around and bust up the store or whatever. Right? This is what you see in the movies now.
The government wouldn't be allowed to do that, and he could certainly go in and sue them.
Well, the
They
government.
do things they're not allowed to do all the time. You can't sue them.
The government is the biggest gang in town. I mean, like, how can you if you get rid of government, you literally get rid of 90% of the problems, right? Like, I understand there's still going to be 10% of problems from people who are not government.
Hey, thanks for the call.
Most of the problems go away.
Yeah, I can't see how what we have now can compete in a fair marketplace.
Nope,
it can't.
It can't.
It just can't. It'd take a while to build it out and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, it can't. 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power. But there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Hewlett-Packard is known for their basic, no-frills computers, but that doesn't mean they can't keep up with the latest technology. In a press release yesterday, HP said, quote, "We are excited to begin offering that cloud thing that everyone is talking about. We definitely have the cloud on our computers, and it is better than anyone else's cloud." Earlier today, I sat down with HP spokesman Gary Klinman, who said the company couldn't wait to show people, quote, how they do their cloud stuff.
We are absolutely thrilled that now people with computers or phones, both will now be able to back things up to the cloud.
Klinman says it isn't surprising they're, quote, up on the cloud, considering they're on the cutting edge of all the latest tech trends. Are there any additional features?
Crowdsourcing is something we are having. Crowdsourcing 2.0. We have social sharing. We have 5G, 6G, really all the Gs. We have app. We have all of it in the computer.
This is the Onion News Network.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
Yes, welcome back to Free Talk Live. We are the live call-in radio talk program where you can take control of the airwaves, talk about whatever's on your mind. We've actually got a caller on hold, and we'll get to him momentarily. But first, I want to take a moment to say thank you to Ukraine 79. Ukraine 79 is a silver-level amplifier. If you don't know what an amplifier is as it relates to Free Talk Live, well, AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And what you can do is go to amp.freetalklive.com, and you can see there's different levels of contributions. What do these contributions go towards? They go towards specifically getting this radio program on more radio stations nationwide. We're currently around 200 radio stations. We could be on more. We could be on 250. We could be on 300, even more stations. It's all up to you. You can go find out more at amp.freetalklive.com. And again, thank you to Ukraine 79. He's tonight's amplifier at the silver level. We appreciate you, Ukraine 79. All right. I've been sitting on this. Oh, yeah, in the studio tonight. It's myself, the captain.
It's Bonnie.
And Chris.
I've been sandbagging this story all day because I don't even know what to think about it. This from Gizmodo.com. Woman hit with embezzlement charges for a 20-year-old overdue VHS tape rental. Yes, you heard that right. You remember VHSs, guys? They were like the big boxy-looking things.
Yeah.
You used to be able to rent the VHS players from the convenience stores or the Blockbuster Video.
I remember being in college, and
I don't remember being in college. I was there, but I don't remember it.
Well, that's good. I don't remember the first 2 years, but the second 2 years I remember. And renting a VHS player.
Yes. In my school, they had the top-load VHS player. So whenever they'd wheel in what they called the AV cart.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It had a big old TV on the top and the top-load VHS player. So anyway, back in the day, for those of you who are under 30 or something.
So, Bonnie, do you remember that?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I had like Disney movies on VHS. Apparently, those are expensive now, but we don't have them anymore at all. And all the Nickelodeon ones would be orange. And I went to Blockbuster with my dad. And that was like the most fun thing in the world to me.
So you know what's really funny actually about this is that there's actually people with young kids who still like go and either rent or buy VHS tapes, and they have VHS players. Like I'm talking about like 3 and 4 year olds now. Like they've got, and there's still people actually buying these tapes.
Well, so there's. Much like the record player didn't go away when cassettes were invented, or 8-track tapes were invented, or CDs were invented, or the MP3 was invented, some people are drawn to retro technology.
I don't think that's it. In this particular case, I think there's actually people still, buying VHS tapes, like, kiddie movies, for their kids. Just because they're
they're probably cheap.
They're not computer literate, right? And so they barely know how to use their Netflix or whatever it is, and so they're still renting.
Maybe it's just old grandmas.
Let me just get through a bit of this article. Let's go to the phones first. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
And Bonnie.
Oh my god, sounded scary.
Is that all you had to say today, David?
No. I got more. I just got to think of it first.
That was pretty funny.
Oh my god!
All right, well, I'll put you back on hold. I'll come back to you in just a minute.
I think he's joking.
So, how we've forgotten what a big deal late fees used to be. In 1999, an Oklahoman woman rented a VHS tape for the then-hit sitcom Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the original version. About 2 decades later, that VHS tape has come back to haunt her after her failure to return it ended up branding her record with felony embezzlement charges.
This story is actually really crazy, and I'll point it out, but keep going with it. It's even crazier than it sounds.
Karen McBride, spelled C-A-R-O-N, by the way, now living in Texas, first learned about the charges after heading to a local DMV to change her name on a driver's license after getting married. She explained to KOKH, the local Fox affiliate, that the DMV alerted her to an issue she had back in her home state. Charges accusing her of felony embezzlement of rented property back in 2000. McBride would later tell the station that she, understandably, didn't even remember renting the movie in the first place.
So the reason it's so crazy is she didn't rent the movie in the first place. Somebody rented it on her account.
That is true. That is a fact, yes.
Even just the fact that that is a possibility should mean that they should just drop their late fees for freaking old technology that people aren't even using anymore.
There should be a time limit for how long a warrant can remain in the system.
Yeah, absolutely. We can talk more about that, but first, let's go to the phones and let's see if David in New Mexico is ready to talk.
Maybe. So that government, that I was calling about a different aspect of government, but on that subject, I mean, it's common sense that whatever fees are assessed should be capped at the value of the item. Is that not common sense?
You would think so.
I don't necessarily know that the fees ever were higher than the value of the item. The tapes that these VHS rental stores actually rented were metal tapes, I think they usually got, and they were actually purchased for like $60 to $80 back in the day, so that it wasn't the $20 you might remember paying. So when they charged you $25 or $20 or however much it was as a late fee, it wasn't real, and I don't even think it was usually that high. But I think that would be what it would be like if they had to replace the tape or something. But maybe it would have been even higher. But either way, it still wasn't as outrageous as people think.
It makes sense to have the replacement fee be the cap, but we're talking about government, and government makes absolutely no sense at all. So I don't expect that to make sense.
Yeah. On that subject, the government makes no sense at all, because your government that you have now is not the government that was created when this country was formed. They've stolen it from you piece by piece by piece, and they haven't done it lawfully. They've done it unlawfully with the intent of taking it away from you. And so what you need to do now is take it back. I know you want something other than the original, but if you took it back to the original, you'd probably be quite happy with it. For instance, the military, because the founders did not want this.
I got to stop you there, because the Constitution.
No, I got to stop you.
No, I got to stop you.
No, I got to stop you.
All right, I'll stop you for real this time. The Constitution is just words written on paper, and so it either proves that, what's the Lysander Spooner quote I'm looking for?
That it was powerless against it if it even had any power at all.
Right. So it was powerless to prevent the tyranny which occurred, or it just never had the power in the first place. So it is just words written on a piece of paper. And thanks for the call tonight, David. So getting back to this VHS overdue story, court records shared with KOKH showed that the VHS tape was rented at a video rental spot in Norman, Oklahoma that's been shuttered since 2008. At the time, prosecutors claimed she willfully, unlawfully, and feloniously embezzled the tape after she didn't return the VHS after